This is Dante Williams, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Now, before I talk about Terence Crawford's performance tonight, I want to first talk about his opponent, Ray Beltran. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Ray Beltran is arguably top 3, top 2, one of the best lightweights in the division, okay? He has a very crafty style. He's what I call a very intelligent, aggressive fighter, okay? Matter of fact, I interviewed, but I forgot to upload it because sometimes I interview so many people, some of the stuff I forget to even upload, but I interviewed Ray Beltran's last opponent. I believe his name was Arash Usmani. So I was asking him about the fight, about the upcoming fight between Terence Crawford and Ray Beltran. Now, Arash, he made it very clear that he was showing favoritism towards Ray Beltran, okay? He was basically just saying, after fighting the guy, I like him, so I'm rooting for him. Every time I tried to ask him for a prediction, you know, you could kind of tell he alluded to basically saying he believed that Terence Crawford was going to win, but he didn't want to say that because he had a lot of respect for Ray Beltran. So anyway, I asked him, I said, you were in the ring with Ray Beltran. Tell me, how was it been in the ring with this guy? Now, I thought it was funny because the first thing Arash said was, you know, a lot of people don't realize how aggressive and strong and good Ray Beltran is. So I had no choice. I had to box him, right? He was basically saying because usually he would be more aggressive. Usually he would be more stationary. But because he was in the ring with such an intelligent, aggressive fighter, he had no choice but to box. And I remember saying to him, I said, man, you don't have to apologize for boxing someone. You make it sound like you're apologizing. And he kept saying the same thing. But yeah, but people don't understand, you know, you have to box sometimes. Sometimes you have to box. You can't always fight this way and that way. His point was he had that tough man mentality. But he ran into a guy that forced him to box. So when I asked Arash his thoughts on the upcoming Crawford versus Beltran fight, the first thing he said was, well, if Crawford stands right in front of Beltran, then Beltran has a very good chance of winning the fight. He has a very good chance of winning the fight. But if he moves and he boxes and so on and so forth, then, you know, it's going to be tough for Beltran, right? Now, I don't know if you guys caught that fight between Beltran and Arash, but in that fight, Beltran, he applied a tremendous amount of pressure on Arash. And eventually, he started to break down Arash Usmani, okay? Now, the reason why I'm telling you guys all of this is because all of what I just said makes Terence Crawford's performance over Ray Beltran just that much more impressive. Because while Arash was trying desperately to get Beltran's respect in the fight, Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he demanded respect from Ray Beltran. And in the process, he took away a lot of Beltran's confidence. The thing that really impressed me the most in this entire fight was the fact that Beltran, he came out as the aggressor, right? And of course, Terence Crawford, he was the boxer. Now, in the first round, he was fighting conventional. Then he switched southpaw. He switched to southpaw like he always does. Now, Beltran, he was fighting a very aggressive fight. But what I thought was very interesting is in the second round, Beltran, he catches Crawford with his best shot at the time, which was a nice right hand. In fact, it was so nice that Beltran tried to follow up with the combination. And while you would think that this would kind of put Terence Crawford on the defensive side, Terence Crawford, he actually welcomed Beltran to open up. And as soon as Beltran opened up, this is when Crawford catches him with a perfect check hook that lands on Beltran's temple. Now, this is when the fight drastically changes, in my opinion. Because now what I'm noticing is every single time Beltran opens up on Crawford, Crawford doesn't back down. Crawford, instead, he retaliates. he opens up with vicious combinations, and you know what Beltran does? He stops punching. Like I said before, Beltran's former opponent, Arash, he was desperately trying to get Beltran to respect him, but he couldn't do it. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he demanded Beltran's respect. Matter of fact, he took away Beltran's confidence because the aggressive fighter had a guy standing right in front of him throughout this fight, and a lot of times when Crawford stood still and didn't move back, Beltran, he did not let his hands go because he was already discouraged from getting hurt earlier on, and he probably felt the power, and not only that, but just the skill set. I'm going to tell you something right now. When you fighting against an aggressive fighter who always comes forward, he has really no gear but going forward, right? And you can make that guy start to back up. You can make that guy passive and become reluctant to throw punches. That is what you call a special type fighter, okay? Because, once again, Beltran's former opponent, Arash, he couldn't do that. He couldn't back Ray Beltran up. No matter what he did, Beltran continued to go forward in that fight. That wasn't the case in this fight. That was not the case. Terence Crawford's defense, his offense, his jab was on point. I mean, oh man, he would pop out that jab so beautifully. You know, double jabs, triple jabs, quadruple jabs. And he does it with speed, and he can jab from a range to where he can't be countered. So he was doing a lot of impressive stuff in there. But once again, man, when you can make an aggressive fighter reluctant to punch and even start moving away, like he's all of a sudden the matador, that is what you call a serious-ass threat. And that's what you call a very gifted special fighter. That's what Terence Crawford is. And on top of that, he is definitely 2014's Fighter of the Year. This man beat an undefeated Ricky Burns. He went over into his backyard, took the title from Ricky Burns, then came right back and knocked out Yuriorkis Gamboa, someone that Mikey Garcia avoided. Then he finishes off the year beating top 3, top 2, the best lightweight in the division. This man is a beast, guys. Terence Crawford is the future of boxing. This man is already in the top 10 pound for pound. And I predict that almost everyone will avoid this man at the 140 pound division. I would love to see of course I like to see this guy against anyone at 140. But because I truly believe Terence Crawford won't get people like Lucas Matisse in the ring, Danny Garcia, none of those guys are going to fight Terence Crawford. None of those guys are going to fight him. But a fight that Terence Crawford may actually get in the future, which I know some of you guys probably think is ridiculous, is he may get a fight with Manny Pacquiao. Okay? Now I truly believe Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao is going to happen in May. Now I'm just saying, if Mayweather completely dominates Pacquiao to where the fight is not even close, unless Mayweather knocks out Manny Pacquiao, I believe Pacquiao will continue to fight. If he does continue to fight, we may get to see Terence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao. And I'm going to tell you right now, that would be a hell of a fight. This man, Terence Crawford, is a superstar in the making. He's selling out arenas in Omaha, Nebraska. 12,000 people came out to watch this man fight. Okay? And it's not the first time. He's a hit in his own hometown. He delivers every single time out. And he's a joy to watch. Finally, there's a fighter who has somewhat of an all-American type of following. You know, you're hearing the chants of USA. You got the flags raised. I mean, this guy has serious potential to carry the torch from a Floyd Mayweather or an Andre Ward. someone all the way at the top of the pound-for-pound list. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens in the future. But that's my assessment on Terence Crawford, and that's pretty much all I got. I'm on to the next one.